Hey guys, I'm BMOC. I want to talk about one of the most anticipated debut albums of this year, which is Action Bronson's Mr. Wonderful. Now, Action Bronson has had albums and mixtapes before. This actually is his major label debut at Atlantic Records. One of the main things that stood out to me the most of this album was actually the production, his beat selection and choices. Like some of the beats sound like they could be like a theme song for like a late 80s, early 90s show. And this leads me to the first track of the album, which is Brand New Car, produced by Mark Ronson. If you don't know who Mark Ronson is, he's produced for Adele, Amy Winehouse. He produced the Bruno Mars. This is that white gold, shall fight for that white gold. Hopefully YouTube doesn't shut me down for doing that. Mark Ronson also produced another track on the album called Baby Blue, but we'll get into that later. So again, Brand New Car, really catchy beat, delivery, punchlines back to back. I mean, Action Bronson's lyrically is a monster. Then we get into The Rising, kind of the same theme with the delivery and the punchlines. That's produced by Static Selector, which is also a standout track. I love the sample of it. It also features Big Body Bez, who is no surprise because him and Action Bronson have collaborated before on previous mixtapes. And his verse is pretty dope as well. He definitely matches the energy of Action Bronson. Then we get to the song called Terry, which is actually one of the singles of the album. Really soulful. I love the guitars. I definitely would love to hear this live, like a live band. I think that would be pretty cool. Outside of the production, one of the main things that stood out to me for Terry was Action Bronson's cadence. The way he's able to switch his delivery and his flow between like the boom bap beats and the soulful tracks is really impressive. Then we get to my favorite track of the album, Acting Crazy. So we said it on a radio interview. I forgot if it was Hot 97 or Breakfast Club. But basically that the actual track, the instrumental, was meant for Drake and it was left over for a previous session. It's produced by 40, who's Drake's main engineer, producer, and Amin. And when you hear the production, it definitely sounds like it could be a Drake-esque track. It has some of the underwater effect that you kind of can hear at the end of this song. And he's talking about people who doubted him when he was trying to come up. And now that he's successful, he wants to floss a little bit. You know, say, listen, this is what I'm able to accomplish. You know, I'm acting crazy right now, so what? Then we get to the song Talkin Jury, which features Mayhem Lauren and Big Body Bez. And it's produced by the legendary hip-hop royalty, The Alchemist. And on this song, we get more braggadocious lyrics, very entertaining. But I feel like the rhymes and the punchlines actually outweigh the beat. I would have liked to hear maybe more of like a boom bap type of feel, but it's still pretty good. Then the album goes kind of left and it goes a little bluesy. It starts with this thug love story interlude that goes into City Boy Blues. And in City Boy Blues, it talks about like gold digging women and disloyal friends. I'll be honest, it's not exactly what I was expecting due to the beginning of the album, but it's cool if you like blues and different types of music. Then we go to the song A Light in the Attic, which is really introspective and talking about some of the current drama that he's facing. The song features Black Atlas and also Party Supplies, who produced that track, and a few more on the album. And the only complaint I really have about this song was that I loved his verse, but I wish there were two verses, or maybe that the one verse he had was longer. Then we get to my second favorite song of the album, which is Baby Blue featuring Chance the Rapper. Why you always all on my back? Super catchy. And this definitely was like the best choice for a radio single. Basically the song is just about a breakup from two different perspectives. Obviously Action Bronson's and Chance the Rapper's, where they're telling their exes like you had a good thing and you messed it up and I wish every bad thing possible would happen to you. And side note, you know, I love Chance the Rapper's delivery. It reminds me of like Eminem, like Infinite or the Slim Shady LP. Maybe I'm the only one, I don't know, but just how he says it and his words are just so like nonchalant, but like his rhyme patterns. It reminds me a lot of early Eminem. Then that leads to Only in America, which sounds like a beat that could be off of ESPN or a sports game. Then you get to Galactic Love, which is a really cool laid-back beat. Action Bronson has, you know, top-notch delivery, but I feel like it's cut short. It's cut at like 2 minutes. And then it goes to The Passage, which is 3 minutes, but that more plays like an instrumental type of vibe. And that was really one of my only main issues with the album, was that I felt like maybe that 3-minute time could have been spent more on hearing Action Bronson and his verses, then like the interludes, some of the gaps, some of the spaces. And then we get to the last track of the album called Easy Rider. It actually was one of the singles, where he's pretty much talking about a girl he used to date back in the day. The beat is very Western, but also gives me that Wu-Tang vibe. Again, I know people keep saying he sounds like Ghostface Killah. Yeah, I've heard it. But if they wanted to make any type of case or have an example, then this track would be it. So overall, the album was pretty cool. I mean, it definitely sounds similar to Blue Chips 2 regarding his sound and his style, but maybe less gaps and a little bit more rapping and more verses would have connected a little bit more for me. If you are a current Action Bronson fan and enjoy some of his previous work, I don't think you'll be disappointed. If you're a new fan, you may not be necessarily as drawn to this unless you do your research on his previous work. For me, I'll be interested to see who he works with next, as far as what producers or what kind of sound can elevate him to a higher level. So thanks again guys for tuning in. I really appreciate all the love and support. I post new videos every Tuesday and Wednesday, music reviews, music biz topics, relationships. You can find them at youtube.com/BMOCTV. Please subscribe. I love the subscribers. You can also find me at BMOC.TV. I'm BMOC. Peace.